Charleston White is the man of the hour, or controversy, depending on who you ask. In a recent chat, he spilled the beans on online dramas and took responsibility. He declares he's ready to defend himself. Well, duh, the man's got a life to live, and ain't nobody messing with that.
They look for people that look like victims. I don't look like a victim. What makes me more dangerous than your street guy? I know how to fight.
But amidst the bravado, he drops some truth bombs. It's like wisdom wrapped in a storm of opinions. You might not agree with everything he says, but let us look at the details of this conversation. Complicated figure. In a portion of an interview with Views from the Arch, Charleston White discusses several topics, including his views on online confrontations, self-defense, and personal responsibility. Charleston White mentions an incident in Minnesota where someone was upset about his comments on George Floyd.
Has anybody ever like try to confront you at one of your shows about something you said online?
No. I just left Minnesota, and it was a guy, he was playing like he was mad about what I said about George Floyd.
He criticizes individuals who express anger online but don't take action in real-life situations, such as confronting police officers directly.
But I didn't see him at that police officer house confronting them police about killing George Floyd. Most people are just mad online.
Charleston White suggests that people who engage in online disputes may have more pressing real-life issues like conflicts with their partners, probation officers, or employers. He emphasizes that these real-life problems take precedence over online disagreements. Charleston White talks about his personal safety measures, stating that he keeps armed security and carries a gun legally. Apparently, he doesn't want to die.
They don't want to die. I keep armed security. I keep a gun. I'm not a felony. These niggas have ran my record and see that I have no felony convictions on my record whatsoever. I can legally carry a gun.
He asserts that he doesn't appear as a victim and contrasts himself with those who may be targeted because they seem weaker.
They look for people that look like victims. I don't look like a victim. What makes me more dangerous than your street guy? I know how to fight. I'll shoot. But I call the police, and they won't.
Charleston White discusses his approach to law enforcement, stating that he will call the police even if he's involved in a shooting. He believes in following the rules even when defending himself.
I play to win in every game, in every situation I'm in, homie. So if I know you won't call the police, I will. If I shoot you, I still call the police. Hey, I just shot somebody. Charleston
White argues that knowledge plays a crucial role in making better decisions. He suggests that the lack of awareness among some Black individuals is a significant factor in their struggles. He challenges the idea that systemic issues like white supremacy and institutional racism are the sole reasons for challenges faced by the Black community.
I was always told, and I used to think this was a cliche, when you know better, you do better. Obviously, Black people don't know better. That's why we're not doing better. It ain't got nothing to do with white supremacy. It ain't got nothing to do with institutional racism. It's that when you know better, you do better.
Charleston White promotes the concept of personal responsibility, stating that individuals should make informed choices to improve their circumstances.
If I know this a trap, why will I go into the trap and sell drugs and rap about being in the trap? It's a trap. If I go into the court system, they're going to treat me a certain kind of way because I'm Black.
He uses examples such as not getting involved in drug-related activities or entering the court system unnecessarily if one knows they will be treated unfairly due to their race. Charleston White criticizes the child support system, suggesting that it is unfair to Black men. He argues that only those who make bastard babies are affected by it.
Why would I get in trouble and leave myself at the mercy of the court system? If I know the child support system is not fair to Black men, why would I make a bastard baby? Only people who are affected by the child support system are people who make bastard babies.
He claims to have avoided issues with the Attorney General's office because he did not produce children outside of wedlock. Charleston White concludes with the idea that knowing better leads to doing better, emphasizing the importance of awareness in making positive life choices. Charleston White is a name that has become synonymous with controversy and unfiltered opinions. But who is Charleston White? What shaped him into the person he is today? To understand the man, we must delve into his early years and the experiences that molded his his perspective. Born and raised in the heart of a vibrant yet troubled community, Charleston White grew up in a neighborhood plagued by poverty, crime, and broken families. It was a world where survival instincts were honed at a young age, and the streets became a classroom for life's harsh realities. From an early age, Charleston witnessed the devastating effects of a broken system. He saw friends and family members succumb to the temptations of drugs and violence, their lives forever altered. It was in this environment that Charleston developed a keen sense of awareness, recognizing the need for change and the importance of personal responsibility. Raised by a single mother who worked tirelessly to provide for her family, Charleston understood the struggles faced by those living in poverty. He saw firsthand the impact of absent fathers and the challenges faced by Black children raised in single-parent households. This experience would later shape his views on the importance of strong family structures and the need for community support. But it wasn't just the external factors that influenced Charleston's upbringing. He was a curious and introspective child, always questioning the world around him. As he grew older, he began to explore different ideologies and philosophies, seeking answers to the pressing questions that plagued his mind. One of the pivotal moments in Charleston's life came when he discovered the stark differences between the teachings of Malcolm X and Martin Luther King Jr., both influential figures. In the civil rights movement represented contrasting approaches to achieving racial equality. Malcolm X advocated for self-defense and separatism, while Martin Luther King Jr. preached nonviolence and integration. This stark contrast sparked a deep introspection within Charleston. He questioned the effectiveness of peaceful protests in the face of systemic oppression and wondered if there was a middle ground between the two ideologies. This exploration would later shape his own unique perspective on activism and social change. Religion also played a significant role in Charleston's upbringing. While he was exposed to various religious beliefs, he never identified himself as religious. Instead, he embraced a more spiritual approach, focusing on the connection between mind, body, and soul. This departure from traditional religious practices would later become a defining characteristic of Charleston's worldview. As Charleston navigated the challenges of his early years, he faced his own personal struggles. At the tender age of 14, he found himself entangled in the criminal justice system, a consequence of the environment in which he was raised. This experience would prove to be a turning point in his life, as it exposed him to the harsh realities of the prison system and the urgent need for reform. But amidst the darkness, there was a glimmer of hope. The family of the man Charleston had unintentionally taken the life of forgave him, an act of forgiveness that would leave an indelible mark on his soul. This profound experience would shape his understanding of redemption and the power of forgiveness. Having experienced the harsh realities of the criminal justice system firsthand, Charleston became acutely aware of the flaws and injustices embedded within it. He witnessed the dehumanizing conditions, the lack of rehabilitation programs, and the cycle of recidivism that plagued the lives of countless individuals. Driven by a deep sense of empathy and a desire for change, Charleston emerged as a powerful advocate for prison reform. He recognized that the system was failing not only those behind bars, but also society as a whole. It was time to challenge the status quo and fight for a more humane and effective approach to criminal justice. Charleston used his platform to talk about the problems in the prison system and why people end up going back to jail. He emphasized the importance of programs to help prisoners rehabilitate, get education, and support for mental health. His powerful speeches and interviews got people talking and inspired a movement for reform. But Charleston's advocacy for prison reform wasn't limited to just words. He took action by actively engaging with lawmakers, community leaders, and organizations dedicated to criminal justice reform. He tirelessly campaigned for policy changes that would address the root causes of crime and provide meaningful opportunities for rehabilitation. One of the key aspects of Charleston's approach to prison reform was his emphasis on personal responsibility. He believed that while the system needed reform, individuals also needed to take ownership of their actions and strive for personal growth. This nuanced perspective challenged the notion of victimhood and encouraged individuals to break free from the cycle of crime. Charleston's efforts in prison reform were not without controversy. Some criticized his unapologetic approach and questioned his motives. However, he remained steadfast in his belief that change could only come through bold and honest conversations. He refused to shy away from uncomfortable truths and was willing to challenge the status quo to bring about meaningful reform. Through his advocacy work, Charleston aimed to humanize those behind bars and shift the narrative surrounding incarceration. He believed in the power of redemption and second chances, recognizing that true rehabilitation required a holistic approach that addressed the underlying issues that led individuals to crime. One of the key aspects of Charleston's evolving perspectives is his critique of society's values and priorities. He questions the glorification of material wealth and fame, challenging the notion that success is solely measured by financial gain. He encourages individuals to prioritize personal growth, community empowerment, and social responsibility. Charleston's unfiltered opinions extend to public figures as well. He has been vocal about his disdain for certain celebrities and athletes whom he believes perpetuate perpetuate negative stereotypes or fail to use their platforms for meaningful change. His controversial views have sparked heated debates and drawn both support and criticism from various corners. One public figure who has been the subject of Charleston's criticism is Deion Sanders, a former professional football player turned coach. Charleston has expressed his disdain for Sanders, accusing him of prioritizing personal success over the collective cause of uplifting the black community. This clash of ideologies has ignited a fiery feud between the two, with each defending their respective positions. Charleston's unfiltered opinions have garnered attention and sparked conversations about the role of public figures in society. While some applaud his willingness to speak his mind, others argue that his approach may be divisive and counterproductive. Regardless of where one stands, there is no denying the impact of his words and the discussions they generate. Through his unfiltered perspectives, Charleston challenges individuals to think critically about the world around them. He encourages people to question the narratives presented to them and to seek their own truths. While his views may be controversial, they serve as a catalyst for introspection and dialogue. Charleston's views are nuanced. He understands the challenges of the topics he discusses and knows there are no simple solutions. He aims to stimulate thinking and prompt people to have meaningful conversations rather than giving clear-cut answers. The impact of Charleston's unfiltered opinions extends beyond public figures. He has become a symbol of authenticity and fearlessness, inspiring others to speak their minds and challenge the status quo. His willingness to address uncomfortable truths has resonated with many. Let's look at some of his most controversial interviews. He's not stopping. In an interview between him and Anto L. Daniels, Charleston discusses various topics related to rap music, gang culture, the impact of certain behaviors on the community, and societal attitudes. Charleston uses the metaphor of an Olympic race to compare the negative impact of crack, rap music, and gang banging.
Crack and rap music and gang banging. One of them have to duck their head to win the race. So you see on that race, and one of them, whoever ducked their head and they crossed that line, all of them shoulder to shoulder. But whoever ducked that head, that's all I want.
He suggests that these elements are as detrimental as slavery and mass incarceration.
Those three components is worse than slavery, Jim Crow, and mass incarceration. So if you had rap, crack, and gang banging over here, you got slavery, Jim Crow, and mass incarceration over here.
Charleston questions the celebration of rappers despite the negative impact of their influence on culture. He argues that the glorification of certain behaviors in rap music has contributed to societal issues. Charleston discusses the origin of the no-snitching culture, suggesting that it was initially meant for those involved in criminal activities rather than citizens. He points out that this culture has infiltrated households and schools, affecting how people deal with abuse and crimes within their communities. Charleston argues that the no-snitching culture protects wrongdoers, including child molesters and domestic abusers. He highlights how this culture prevents people from reporting crimes, allowing real abusers to go unchecked in the community.
Now the snitching rule even protects the child molester in the home. It protects the beating up the mama in the house. You better not call the police because y'all live in the projects. You live in the hood. Now the real abusers in the community get to have free reign over our communities now.
Charleston mentions the controversy surrounding R. Kelly and suggests that there are people who want him released. He questions why some individuals are not as outraged at other instances of abuse within the black community, pointing out the selective outrage. Charleston reflects on the influence of certain behaviors within black culture, such as scenes in movies like Belly. He criticizes the normalization of explicit content in popular culture and the lack of public outrage over such depictions. Charleston talks about his personal journey to evolve away from the negative aspects of the black culture. He discusses the difficulty of breaking away from ingrained cultural behaviors and the need to create a new subculture.
Trying to evolve away from this culture and create a new subculture. Because the culture is there. We can't get rid of it. We have to create a subculture.
Charleston points out a perceived aversion to reading within the culture and suggests that encouraging education and reading faces resistance.
This culture don't even like reading. Talk about reading in this culture and watch what happens. Everybody going to sleep. You put a book in front of going to sleep. He don't know what to do. He gonna be so goddamn
board.
Charleston expresses concern about idle minds within the culture, emphasizing the importance of addressing this issue to bring about positive change. This particular interview mirrors his interview with Say Cheese, where several topics are discussed. This ranges from Charleston White's rise to popularity, his unapologetic nature, his views on black violence, and his stance on the Black Lives Matter movement. In this interview, Charleston White attributes his popularity to his work in the community, being an outspoken hip-hop critic and addressing various social issues, including gang violence, gun violence, and prostitution.
Man, basically, doing work in the community, right? Doing work in the community, being a outspoken hip hop critic, speaking out against, the local rap beefs, addressing gang violence in the community, addressing gun violence, addressing prostitution.
He recalls a specific incident where he had a confrontation with a gang member, and the video of that incident went viral, contributing to his international recognition.
In a video, I got into it with a so-called gang member, the Harvard Street Crips, and so I pulled up in the police parking lot, because I'm a local activist, so I'm safe and comfortable with pulling up in the police parking lot. And so I argued with the guy, said that I was going to go call the police on him.
The interviewer commends Charleston White for being unapologetic in his views. Charleston explains that he believes in speaking the truth without worrying about hurting anyone's feelings.
Truth has no feelings, right? And truth doesn't care about anybody's feelings. So in my mind, homie, based on my qualitative experiences, my quantitative knowledge, I think I'm speaking truth.
Charleston emphasizes that he reflects the reality of communities on social media, including both entertainment and foolishness. Charleston White states that he doesn't apologize for his statements. He believes in the truth, and if someone attacks or insults him, he responds verbally, but without hate or anger. A key point that stood out to the interviewer was Charleston's perspective on black violence. Charleston argues that there's no marching or protesting when black people kill each other, contrasting it with reactions to police violence.
So when I walk out of my doors as a black man born in America, as an American black man, when I walk out of my doors, my greatest threat is another black man who look like me. It's not a police officer who's gung-ho. It's not a racist police officer. It's not the Klansman. I gotta first survive amongst the niggas and the black folks around.
He highlights the contradiction in the community's response to cases like George Floyd, where outrage leads to protests. But similar outrage is absent when the violence is intra-community.
I mean, it's sad that we tore up the country for George Floyd, right? We didn't have the backstory to who George Floyd was. All we had was a nigga that was being killed by the police, and we became outraged, and we said, we're not taking this no more. And then all of a sudden, we killing each other like never before.
Charleston discusses how the tearing up of the country for George Floyd contrasts with the lack of a similar response to the killing of innocent kids or popular artists by other black individuals. He believes that this contradiction gives the black race a black eye in their fight against oppression. Charleston criticizes the prevalent gun violence in black communities, arguing that the primary threat to black individuals is often other black individuals. He asserts that guns in the community are not used to protect against external threats, but are carried with the intention of killing other black people.
Every nigga in the community, in the hood, toting a gun, his bullet is for another nigga. When he loading a gun, he thinking about killing another nigga. When he put it in his pants pocket, he hollering about this is for a nigga. He never think to pull that trigger and the target is gonna be a white face. No, he don't even dream of that.
Charleston explicitly states that he does not support the Black Lives Matter movement. He criticizes the movement for not addressing issues such as child support arrears and mistreatment within the child support system. He accuses the movement of only stepping in when there's a high-profile case like George Floyd, using it as a divisive method rather than fighting for systemic change consistently. Charleston accuses the Black Lives Matter movement of exploiting tragedies to further its agenda, focusing on specific cases that fit their narrative rather than consistently fighting against injustice. Outside of these interviews, he also shares his thoughts on celebrity news, like the recent controversy involving Dwight Howard. In July 2023, serious sexual assault allegations were made against Dwight Howard. Although Howard denied the allegations, the damage was already done. Stephen Harper filed a lawsuit in July, claiming that Howard assaulted him at his Atlanta home in 2021. The details of the alleged assault are disturbing. Harper's lawsuit included multiple counts, making the accusations very serious. What adds to the intrigue is that Harper had previously made similar similar allegations against Howard in 2022. Back then, Harper reported the incident to the Gwinnett police, who investigated but closed the case due to a lack of evidence. Despite this, Harper decided to take legal action almost a year later. Howard denies any wrongdoing, stating that his interaction with Harper was consensual. The lawsuit claims they connected on Instagram, met at Howard's place, and began with consensual kissing. However, it took a dark turn when another man entered the room. Harper alleges that Howard forced him into non-consensual acts while the other man engaged with Howard. The lawsuit includes serious charges like assault and false imprisonment. Both parties released statements through their lawyers, with Harper emphasizing seeking justice, not extortion. No court dates are set, and the case's outcome will impact everyone involved, especially Dwight Howard's reputation. Charleston White shared that he and Dwight Howard are Instagram friends, but he's thinking about unfriending him because of recent controversies.
Me and Dwight Howard Instagram friends. Boy started following me about a year ago. I was excited. Boy, Dwight Howard with me. I'm finna go unfriend him today.
White doubts the truth of these accusations, questioning the credibility of the claim that someone as big and strong as Dwight Howard would be part of such activities.
Yeah, I used to think this nigga was making up stories. When they tell you these mythical stories about these strong punks in prison who knock out and wake up and the punk sucking his.
He makes explicit and rude comments, indicating that he finds the details of the allegations difficult to believe.
I said, man, this nigga lying. Ain't no punk knocking niggas out and sucking dick, and this nigga waking up with a hard dick after being knocked out. How that get hard while he knocked out? They said, no, he just be sucking on it. Well, how the punk make it get up? So you can't make me believe Dwight Howard and
Charleston White talks in detail about intimate situations involving Dwight Howard with other men. He finds the idea amusing and questions how these incidents could happen.
Normally, them go to raping you. Yeah. Normally, them big like that go to raping you, trying to shove off in you. Big old like that, begging for some dick, and then going down on some dick. I was heartbroken. I've been avoiding this question for a week.
White suggests that Howard might be avoiding addressing the rumors directly, implying that he might be hiding something.
All that, what I do in my bedroom is my business. No, it ain't. You play basketball for the NBA. You done played, you Dwight Howard. And if you bumping with a dick, that's our business.
He thinks Howard should either explain or say it's not true instead of keeping everyone guessing.
Be a man and say, I like dick if you like dick. Say you want it, or say you need it. Say whatever you got to say, but nigga, be honest. Don't leave us hanging like this here, my cause we all know you did that to that boy.
Whether you like or dislike Charleston White, everyone recognizes that his distinctive style and behavior are deliberate and part of his public persona. He is known for his impactful online presence, but he's also committed to his community. He believes in making a real difference by forming authentic connections and taking meaningful actions. Charleston actively encourages and supports young people, offering them opportunities for a brighter future.